The message came through at 12:07 a.m., just as the elevator doors slid open. He's been messaging me. I didn't want to ruin your night. It was from my wife. I stood there, keys in my hand, the hallway carpet blurring beneath my feet. The party noise still rang in my ears, laughter, clinking glasses, my boss's voice cutting through the room like he owned the air. I read the text again, slower this time, hoping I'd misunderstood. He's been messaging me. My boss. The night unraveled backward in my head, every moment suddenly sharp. I'd been proud to bring her. That's the part that hurts the most. The work party was a big deal, end of year, everyone dressed better than usual. The kind of night where promotions were hinted at and alliances were quietly measured. I wanted her there, wanted people to see us together. I wanted my life to look solid. First it was good. She laughed at my coworkers' jokes, held my arm when we walked in, whispered comments that made me feel like we were still us. My boss, Mark, greeted us with that easy confidence of his, shaking my hand a second too long, telling my wife she looked fantastic. I noticed it. I told myself it was nothing. I always told myself that. As the night went on, I got pulled into conversations. Mark wanted to talk numbers. Someone else wanted my opinion on a project. Every time I glanced back, my wife was nearby, until she wasn't. She went to the restroom, Mark said when I asked, smiling like he was doing me a favor. She came back quieter. Less eye contact. Her phone stayed in her hand. You okay? I asked. Yeah, she said quickly. Just tired. I believed her because it was easier than asking what my gut was already whispering. We left just after midnight. In the car, she stared out the window, phone dark in her lap. Did you have fun? I asked. Hum. The distance between us felt physical, like something solid I couldn't reach across. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom. I lingered in the kitchen, replaying the night, wondering why I felt like I'd failed some invisible test. That's when the text came. I walked into the bedroom slowly. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, shoulders hunched, eyes already red. What messages? I asked. She unlocked her phone and handed it to me. They weren't explicit. That almost made it worse. Compliments. Late-night jokes. A message sent while I was standing 10 feet away, talking about quarterly targets. You deserve to be seen. Wish I'd had more time with you tonight. Then the one time-stamped 11:58 p.m. If things were different, I wouldn't stop at flirting. My chest tightened. Did you respond? She shook her head. I froze. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to believe her. Part of me did. Another part noticed how long the conversation had gone on before midnight. How long has this been happening? I asked. She hesitated. That pause was louder than any confession. Sleep didn't come that night. Every memory twisted into something ugly. Mark's smile. The way my wife had laughed a little too hard at something he said. The time she'd mentioned work stress and I'd nodded without really listening. By morning, the house felt unfamiliar. I never meant for it to go there, she said over coffee, voice shaking. He makes me feel noticed. I flinched. Not because I didn't understand, but because I did. So I don't. I asked. She looked at me then, really looked. That's not what I said. But it was what I heard. I went to work anyway. Mark acted normal. Friendly. Clapped me on the shoulder like always. I watched him talk to other people and wondered how many lines he crossed pretending it was charm. At noon, my wife texted again. He apologized. Said he misread things. I closed my eyes. Misread things. As if trust were a typo. The turning point came that evening. I didn't plan it. I just found myself standing in Mark's office doorway, heart pounding. You crossed a line, I said. He leaned back, surprised but not ashamed. I didn't force anything. That told me everything. I reported it the next day. Not out of revenge. Out of self-respect. The fallout was quiet, procedural. HR words. Careful expressions. Mark avoided me after that. At home things were harder. My wife cried. Apologized. Said she wished she'd shut it down sooner. I believed she was sorry. I just didn't know if sorry could rebuild what cracked. Trust doesn't break like glass. A phrase. Slowly. In places you don't see until it's too thin to hold. We tried. Therapy. Long talks. Short silences. Some nights I'd catch her looking at her phone and feel my chest tighten for no reason. Some mornings she'd reach for my hand and I'd hesitate, just a second too long. In the end, it wasn't one message or one man that ended us. It was the realization that the line had been close enough to cross at all. The night I moved out, she stood in the doorway crying quietly. "I never touched him," she said. "I know," I replied. "But you reached for something that wasn't me." Outside, the air was cool and still. I sat in my car and breathed for the first time in weeks. I don't hate her. I don't hate Mark. I just learned something I won't forget. Respect isn't loud. It doesn't flirt with the edge. And when someone shows you where their boundaries blur, believing them is the first step toward saving yourself.